is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
All right, so we do need to update you on the tornado warning that was just issued a few minutes ago. Southern Ellsworth County, northern Rice County. We've got an area, not a confirmation of a tornado, but it's east of Claflin, and it's right along Highway 4 that we would be thinking about maybe something developing out of this storm. At the present time, again, no confirmation of anything like that. What we're looking at here is the wind inside of the storm to try to analyze these radar images with you live on the air, and it does look like the area now is very close to Bushton, and this is going to continue to press on to the east. There's some very large hail that once again looks like it may be threatening the Holyrood-Lorain area. I'll let you see radar from the last hour because the storm now kind of shifting on more to an easterly trajectory. It may, in time, go a little bit more to the northeast, but at the moment it really looks like it's more of an easterly path. Nothing confirmed with it, but we do still have some strong rotation with it, so let's get an updated storm track and see where we're going from here. Okay, so we do have a funnel cloud with us at 622. We're going to track it east at about 25, and that would bring it into Frederick at 640, 654 Geneseo. I know we're going to have a lot of eyeballs on this storm, so if something does happen, we'll keep you posted on that. But at the present time, it does sound like there's a funnel cloud with this storm. Again, that's along Highway 4, so we've got Bushton included in this, Frederick, Geneseo, Ellsworth up here at the top part of your screen. It looks like another hail-producing storm is going to be coming in from the south and west. I know we had confirmation 9 miles southeast of Wilson of hail larger than 2 inches in diameter. No reports of damage from that area, but obviously hail of that magnitude is fairly significant. So just kind of scanning what's taking place here. Once again, tornado warning, northern Rice, southern Ellsworth County. The storm that's coming into the Salina area has a history of producing some quarter-size hail, so that's what you need to be ready for there. We do have another tornado warning up in northwest and north-central Kansas. I'll kick it back over to Peyton here briefly so we can get an update on what's happening there north of Oberlin.
Yeah, Ross, we do have the tornado warning that continues for Decatur County. If you're in Cedar Bluffs, you should be in your tornado shelters right now because if this storm is going to produce a tornado, it would be right on top of you right now. We'll zoom in very close to get Cedar Bluffs on there. So what we're looking at here is kind of this notch. This is the inflow going into the storm, and if there's going to be a tornado, it's going to be very near Cedar Bluffs at this time. So take your tornado precautions. Let's take a look at some of our reports that we had. This might be an older report. That was about 45 minutes ago of a tornado, but we are continuing to watch this storm. It is moving off to the northeast, so if you are in Cedar Bluffs, stay in your storm shelter. It will be crossing the state line into Nebraska as we move on here, probably through the next 15 minutes or so. If you're in Oberlin, this tornado warning does include portions of Decatur County, but it does not include Oberlin. The storm will be staying to the north of you, but again, if you are in Cedar Bluffs, want to take your tornado precautions with this storm as it continues to move off to the northeast. You do have some other scattered storms in northwest Kansas. These are currently not severe. They have been struggling to intensify, so really just some heavy rainfall and some lightning with this. And then we go to southwest Kansas where we're watching for the possibility of some additional storms to develop. These also struggling, although we do have some heavy rain right over Liberal at this point in time. All of this moving off toward the northeast. We do have several of our storm chasers in western Kansas at this point in time, so we take a look at them here. They are moving out into the western part of the state. Anticipating that there will be some additional thunderstorms developing in western Kansas through the evening hours. As we were showing you on Future Track, it's uncertain how widespread this will be, but any isolated storms that develop over the western half of the state will have the likelihood to be severe, and as they continue to move off to the east, the potential will be there with any storms for tornadoes, large hail, and strong wind gusts as we move on throughout the evening hours. So that's why we do have that tornado watch in effect. It covers most of western Kansas until 2 a.m. We will be here keeping an eye on the storms as we move on through the rest of the evening. Our viewers on the KSCW will be leaving us. Our coverage does continue right now on KWCH 12 and on Always On Storm Team 12. Russ?
All right, thanks very much, Peyton. Just a quick recap here. Tornado warning, northern Rice, southern Ellsworth County. Funnel clouds have been reported with the storm near Bushton. We're going to pause for a moment and welcome our viewers on KSCW. Eyewitness News continuing on both KWCH 12 and soon KSCW.
This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
Good evening to our viewers watching on the KSCW. Chief Meteorologist Ross Jansen alongside meteorologist Peyton Sanders and Mark Larson as we continue to track severe weather in central Kansas. We've got new storms popping up in the west. We have a tornado warning out for areas north of Oberlin. That's in northwest Kansas. Getting a new hail report popping up here. This is close to the Holyrood area, indicating that we may be dealing with some significant hail there. We certainly see that on radar. The rotation is showing up closer to Bushton. The hail size there near Holyrood at 624. Estimated to be about ping pong ball size. So yes, there's that threat underway at the present time. What we're looking at on radar, though, is rotation straddling the Rice-Ellsworth County line. This is near Bushton. It's well east of Claflin. Largest hail is going to be up here toward the Holyrood area. So anybody that's now in Bushton over toward Frederick and eventually Geneseo, you've got some time here, but the storm is coming your way. Does look like it's tracking to the east. And based on what we've been getting from the eyewitness accounts coming in to the storm center, it does sound like we have a funnel cloud reported with the storm. No confirmation of a tornado at the moment. But this is an interesting area that we're watching here from the wind mode of Doppler radar, trying to ascertain exactly where the strongest wind signatures are with respect to the tornado, and just trying to use the Dodge City radar to get an idea of what's happening here. But it's east of Claflin in the Bushton area, now shifting east along Highway 4. I mean, this literally is right on the county line, continuing to move to the east, and we continue to see that classic notch on the radar showing up right here east of Bushton. Update our storm track from just a few minutes ago. It does continue to go east, and so anyone along Highway 4, you need to be ready for this sort of thing. Seeking shelter below ground going to be your safest bet. If you're in Frederick or Geneseo, start moving to a place of safety at once. If you've never been through this sort of thing before, you want to get below ground. You want to find a place in your basement that maybe is underneath something sturdy that could to protect you from anything that can fall through the floor above. If that's not an option for you, closets, bathrooms, good places to go. Don't try to ride out this storm in a mobile home. You move to a designated storm shelter. Believe it or not, and I know this sounds like the craziest thing ever, but you're safer to try to ride out a storm in a ditch than you would be staying in a mobile home in these kinds of scenarios. So nothing at the moment confirmed on the ground, but we have had some funnel clouds reported, and this rotation is fairly strong now near Bushton, continuing to move down Highway 4. Again, approaching Frederick, approaching Geneseo, Ellsworth. You've got another storm coming in from the southwest. Lorain, Holyrood, looks like some large hail coming back into your area. As we watch this animates, this is 1 hour's worth of radar imagery. Notice how the storm's showing more of an easterly movement at the moment. What are we looking at for hail? We know we've had reports of ping pong ball size. The radar is estimating hail definitely falling in line with what has been reported. They're estimated to be 1.5 inches in diameter, so some fairly significant hail. Not the kind of thing that we want to be tracking, and it's certainly this close to wheat harvest. Some rough news to pass along there, some large hail possible there. Tornado warning, again, northwest Rice County, southern Ellsworth County at the moment. We don't believe there to be a tornado in progress, but we have had funnel clouds. Also keeping an eye on what's coming into Salina. We've got a healthy thunderstorm back in the Brookville area. Heads up around the Smolin vicinity. Does look like areas to the north of there, up toward, looks like now starting to wind down in Westfall. But the Glendale area certainly have a strong thunderstorm coming through your area, coming right down 140 into Salina. So here within the next 15 to 20 minutes, the rain's going to pick up, the hail's going to start falling. We have had some reports of up to quarter-size hail with this particular storm, and we do have our Salina Skycam give you an opportunity to see what's coming in from the west, and obviously darkening skies, what looks maybe a little bit like a shelf cloud approaching Salina. That would be some of the white cloud features that we're looking at, elongated, stretching out over many, many miles across the horizon. And what that could be a signature of is some strong winds that may come through Salina, followed by the heavy rain, the hail that will be behind these lighter colored clouds. So once again, Salina, you're in the path of a severe thunderstorm. Be prepared for hail and wind and heavy rain. We don't see a rotating thunderstorm here that would be cause for concern of a tornado, but it's certainly going to be a strong thunderstorm as it approaches from the west, and you've got just a few minutes left to prepare for some hail if you need to take some precautions there. By the way, the severe thunderstorm warning does include a good chunk of Saline and western Saline County at that. As we bring you up to the current time and get a sample of what the hail may be like inside of this storm, Well, those look like our computer's estimating about quarter size, and that would go along with the report that we had from near Canopolis of quarter size hail about 15 minutes ago, so be prepared for some hail in that area. Central Kansas has been dealing with severe weather. We still have the tornado warning. Again, northern Rice, southern Ellsworth County, Ellsworth, Lyons, not part of the tornado warning. Small chunk of real estate here right along the county line where we continue to have that rotation. I understand that we have some information coming in, joining somebody on the phone. Can you let me know who we're speaking with here? Okay, we do have the Ellis County manager, emergency manager, with some information from storms earlier today. Welcome into Eyewitness News at 6:30, and we're also on the KWCH, also broadcasting on KWCH 12. Go ahead and let us know what information you have to pass along.
I was just following up on a request to give you guys a call on the information up here in Ellis County. The storms, at least the first rounds, have passed so far today. Reported 3+ inches of rain in certain parts of the county, central to eastern parts of the county. Maybe it's going off again.
Okay.
Did have a couple of tornado touchdowns that happened up here in the south and southeast part of the counties, confirmed on the ground for a brief period of time, but at this point we don't see any initial damage reports of any structures or houses being damaged by that. Did have a couple injury accidents during the calls on I-70 and just east of town on Old 40. And many reports of baseball plus the softball size hail, a lot of windows broken out on cars. Had several of our sheriff's deputies' cars get hit with the softball size hail, but no initial reports of damage and injuries. So that's at least the main point of this at this point.
Okay, thanks very much. Again, that's the Ellis County Emergency Manager from storms earlier today. We appreciate the information. Briefly, we're going to kick it over to Michael Schwenke. We'll come back here in just a few seconds or so and give you an update on that tornado warning for Rice and Ellsworth counties. Mike?
Myers out there in Ellis County. We also have a crew there in Ellis County. We sent Caroline Elliott up there who saw some flooding. She is in Hayes. And Caroline, you've showed us the hail, but you did see some of the flooding issues there as well.
Yeah, Mike, earlier we showed you streets in this area almost completely underwater, but take a look. As you can see right now, a majority of these streets have cleared up. But now I want to show you where all that heavy rainfall is heading down. Take a look over here. This is a runoff area just off of 19th Street in Hayes, where we're seeing all that heavy rainfall from earlier today. Now, the good news is the streets are clearing up for the most part, but the other storyline you just mentioned it, Mike, here is hail. Now, we've seen baseball-sized hail here in this area as well, and some damage to a few cars and homes. Now, we will continue to keep you updated on what's happening here on the ground, but for the most part, looks like it's clearing up here. Mike?
Caroline, thank you. Let's send it back over to Ross. Ross?
Okay, and we do continue to track the tornado warning for northern sections of Rice County and southern Ellsworth County. We don't have confirmation of a tornado, but in between Bushton and Frederick at the present time, we do have indications of some rotation showing up on radar. Looks like we now have a wind report. I can tell you we've also heard from emergency managers working this storm that there was an overturned semi on 156, that near the Holyrood area, so we know that there has been some strong winds. This is the area of concern, though. It's right along Highway 4, now moving into the Frederick area, not an overly populated community. Know this area quite well, but we do have, a handful of families that live there. And so if you live in Frederick over toward Geneseo, again, you do want to be thinking about where you would go to ride out this storm. We don't have confirmation of a tornado. That's the important part to pass along. But this appendage that's showing up on the back edge of the storm is indicating some of the rotation that we're looking at here right along Highway 4. So if you're north of Chase, north of Lyons, west of 14, right here along Highway 4, that's where we continue to see this rotation that's showing up on radar. Again, no confirmation of a tornado there at the moment. Let's kick it back over to Peyton. We are also watching some storms up in northwest Kansas.
Yeah, Ross, a quick update on that tornado warning that continues for Decatur County. Again, this is well north of the Oberlin area. We take a look at it right now. We did actually just get in a hail report with this thunderstorm in addition to the tornado potential penny to dime size hail reported. Let's take a look at the wind mode of radar. It does look like like that the circulation is starting to move across the state line. Well, from what I'm looking at here, the circulation is right there, and that is putting it north of the Nebraska border now. So if you're in Cedar Bluffs, you want to go ahead and stay in your shelter for the time being. Let the storm get a little bit farther to your north, but then after that, I think over probably the next 10 minutes, this will start to be lifted from the tornado warning for Kansas as that storm crosses into Nebraska. We do have some other scattered storms in the northwest part of the state. These are currently not severe, but let's see how this has changed over the past 1 hour. Notice right in here, let me stop things here real quick, and what we're looking at is some signs of what's probably some additional storm development there across Trigo and the parts of Rush and Ellis counties from around Waukene down through Hayes and La Crosse. That might be some additional storms that may continue to strengthen here over the next couple of hours. That is right along a boundary to where if these storms continue to intensify, as I take a look at some additional information, those storms move northeast, hail and strong wind gusts will be a possibility, so we'll keep a close eye on that. We are still monitoring southwest Kansas to see if any of these additional storms, really just rain showers now, but we'll see if they can develop into stronger thunderstorms over the next few hours. As we take a look at where our chasers are at this point in time, they are moving into western Kansas in case those storms do intensify and become stronger through the evening. So for right now, the short-term focus is still on those storms in central Kansas, but more storms will be possible in western Kansas. Still uncertain on how widespread they will be, but for sure, if we do get some additional isolated storms developing, they are very likely to be severe. Ross?
All right, Peyton, and just an update here. It does look like the rotation on this storm in northern Rice County is now shifting just south of Highway 4. And so it's now looking more along the lines of extreme northern Rice County, where the rotation may be at its most significant point at the present time. We'll zoom back in, bring some more towns into view. Here's Geneseo. It's south of Lorain, and new tornado warning now, including northern Rice County. Does not include Lyons, but it does include areas over toward Little River, does include areas south of Canopolis Lake. Geneseo falls kind of right into the middle of it, but here's the area of concern. The notch now shifting south of Highway 4, and we're tracking this, starting to show more of a sign moving to the southeast. This, by the way, that's a funnel cloud that's showing up on the radar just southwest of Lorain. That's going to be some dated information because we know that the circulation is now south of there, but here's a location, again, estimated location 640 of a funnel cloud reported. That's going to be south of Lorain. But here's the concern now, south of Highway 4, north of Lyons. Let me bring Lyons into view so you can see where we're talking about. So Lyons and obviously Chase over there, well north of Raymond too. But as this gets ready to pass over Highway 14, we still believe there to be a well-defined wall cloud. Funnel clouds have been reported with the storm. We don't believe there to be a tornado happening at the moment. And we are noting a little bit of a southeasterly trek to the storm now as it gets ready to pass through areas southwest of Geneseo. This an area that I know very well, and so if we have a tornado in that area, we're probably going to find out about it fairly quickly. But at the moment, it does sound like we're dealing with some funnel clouds at the present time. This is one of just a couple of tornado warnings that we have in effect. It does look like the storm will pass to the north of Lyons, but heads up from Little River, south of Canopolis Lake. It doesn't look like the tornado is going to come anywhere close to Canopolis Lake. It will be well south of there, but this storm now starting to shift a little bit more to the southeast, kind of turning into the direction of the warm, humid air that's feeding this storm in northern Rice County. There's also been some tremendous hail. If you missed it a few minutes ago, we did have a report of an overturned semi on Highway 156. That was near Holyrood from some strong winds, and now the center part of this storm really focused over the southern part of Ellsworth County and northern Rice County. We haven't forgotten about those of you in Salina with the storm bearing down on you. I can definitely tell you that what we're looking at on radar appears to be wind and the possibility of hail up to the size of quarters. Now, what you're seeing here west of Salina looks like some strong winds are about ready to move into Salina. You can follow it there. Notice that area of green. So this is wind that's blowing in toward the Topeka radar, which of course would be up here. So some stronger winds look like they may be about ready to move through Salina, possibly 60, maybe 70 miles per hour, and a severe thunderstorm warning is out. We spend a lot of our time focusing on tornado warnings, but you get winds that gust 70 to 80 miles per hour. It can leave widespread damage sometimes, even more so than what a brief tornado will do. So for those of you in Salina, you're saying, well, it's just a thunderstorm warning, but there's some significant wind showing up on radar with this. Be ready for winds of 60 to 70 there and possibly some quarter-size hail. We've got a view from Salina. This is our sky cam up there on the KSAL tower, and now the rain is starting to obscure the view just a little bit, but we know the storm has made it to Salina. The peak wind, though, may not have been experienced in Salina just yet, so don't let your guard down, because what we're looking at on radar would suggest to me that the strongest winds are probably still just west of Salina and haven't quite made it into the city itself. But a lot of dark-looking skies. We've got a tornado watch out for the area. We've got some tornado warnings underway at the moment, but nothing that looks that threatening in terms of a rotating thunderstorm that would lead to a tornado. But obviously getting a little noisy in the city of Salina, so we'll continue to keep an eye on our Skycam view from up there. Again, that's the tower, the camera that's mounted on the KSAL tower. So severe thunderstorm warning for Saline County, strong winds. Let's look at the hail. Wouldn't expect it to be larger than quarter size. Haven't had anything like that reported. These blue colors that we're seeing here along I-70, estimated to be smaller than 1 inch in diameter, but we are also continuing to follow the tornado warning that's in effect for southern Ellsworth County and northern Rice County, an area right here to the south of Highway 4. Does look like we still have some fairly significant rotation. There's a new hail report just coming in. This is going to be east of Bushton near the Frederick area, quarter size at 643. And that area of rotation now looks like it's to the south of Highway 4 and starting to shift away from Geneseo. Good news there, but I know there's a lot of farmsteads in this area that deserve warning, and so heads up because the storm is coming your way, and hopefully we won't have a tornado produced out of this, but there have been some funnel clouds reported with this particular cell. And by the way, the tornado warning for Rice and southern Ellsworth counties does continue until 7:30. It does look like Ellsworth County will probably be cleared from that before 7:30 because the rotation has shifted south, but obviously a storm we continue to watch carefully. With more details on storms west and north, we'll kick it back over to Peyton.
Yeah, Ross, real quickly, want to show you here southwest Kansas. We're still monitoring this activity very closely that's trying to develop in western Kansas. If we can take Mikey Gribble's feed, it looks like let me see exactly what highway he's on. He's in the Garden City area. It looks like he may be heading north, but Mikey Gribble does have video of the storms that are attempting to develop there here to the west of Garden City. So we're going to keep watching this. It's not just around Garden City, but farther down to the south, to the northeast of the Liberal area. There is Mikey Gribble. So he is watching those towers going up. We will see if they continue to intensify. We have several chasers that will be out in western Kansas. By my count, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in western Kansas. If those storms do continue to develop. So we're going to keep watching that carefully. I do want to give a quick update on the tornado warning that we've been watching for Decatur County. As I was mentioning, the area of rotation now crossing the state line. Here's Cedar Bluffs. Cedar Bluffs, you have the all clear now. The rotation is passing north of town. We did not get, let me see, I believe this is the funnel cloud report that we had. It's 628. In Decatur County reported the funnel to the northwest. So based on the indications that we've had so far, we did not have a tornado touch down. So we'll see if we did get any reports or not, but based on right now, that looks like it was just a funnel cloud. That is now moving into Nebraska. We do have other additional thunderstorms developing. It looks like we have Steve Pauley here in Thomas County. Let me see, I don't think his stream is up yet, but we'll be watching his information to see how these storms develop down around the Hoxie area. Looks like Justin Dean is in Trigo County, watching all these storms developing along a outflow boundary or a warm front. As they move north, what I have been kind of monitoring as we take a look here over the past hour, they're moving northeast, and once you go north of this front, the air is a little bit more stable. So as these storms move toward the northeast, it might be more of a hail and wind threat. We'll see how that changes wouldn't rule out an isolated tornado, but that's kind of what we're thinking. And then in southwest Kansas, this is a part of the state that if these storms become severe, it's very likely that they're going to produce very large hail, strong winds, and a tornado threat. So southwest Kansas is where it looks like we're going to have to watch for additional storm development in the next couple of hours. For right now, the strongest storms still there in portions of Rice County. Let's send him back on over to Ross with information on those storms.
Well, Peyton, looking at the wind inside of the storm, it looks like we could see some of the strong winds headed for Lyons. The storm has taken on more of a southeasterly path. And so, although we haven't had a tornado reported with the storm, I would say in the city of Lyons, we need to be ready for hail, maybe up to the size of golf balls, and some strong winds. And let me show you why, because when we look and we sample this storm using the Wichita radar, this strong area of green that's showing up northwest of Lyons is now moving in closer to the community. And so even if we don't get a tornado, I mentioned a few minutes ago, hail and wind combination can often do more widespread damage than a tornado because tornadoes by themselves are isolated. So what I would be concerned about here, especially from Lyons just north along Highway 14, some strong winds, maybe of 60 to 65 miles per hour, could be coming through that area momentarily, along with some large hail. We've had hailstones this afternoon, ranging anywhere from quarter size all the way up to baseball and grapefruit size. I don't think we're going to have that kind of hail on this storm in Rice County, but certainly looks like some strong winds now right along into the west of Highway 14, and the hail threat also still looks fairly significant. You know, you get back here just to the northwest of Lyons up toward the Frederick and Bushton areas, and our computer's estimating hail that might be golf ball to maybe 2 inches in diameter. Hopefully we're not getting hail of that size because, again, for a lot of the farmers in the area, your focus, your concern on the wheat crop, whether you have insurance or not, I don't think anybody wants to be hailed out, but this sort of thing is definitely a widespread concern for hail and strong winds, and this is going to continue to push on to the southeast. So again, areas north of Lyons, it is a tornado warning. It's possible it could produce another wall cloud or a funnel. Haven't had any confirmation of a tornado, but still looks like a threat here of some large hail happening north of Lyons and some strong winds expected too of about 60 miles per hour. Who's next in line? Well, from around the city of Lyons and north up toward the Geneseo area, if we track this southeast at about 25, you're going to see Little River at 713, Windham at 727. Those next in line should be ready for some large hail and strong wind gusts. For those of you in Salina, again, we've been watching two areas. We've got this one north of Lyons, south of Ellsworth. We've also got this area in Saline County. It looks like the storm coming in from the west still may be producing some winds of 60 to 65. And the hail with these storms probably quarter size at the largest. I don't think we're looking at any of that 2 or 3 inch hail that's coming into Salina, but hail and wind combination, again, obviously a reason to be concerned about what's happening here in Saline County. We also have some severe weather back in the Ellsworth area, again, from the city of Ellsworth south, even though the tornado threat has shifted south of you, still does look like some large hail is possible there, south of Ellsworth, and down closer to the Ellsworth-Rice County line, zooming back in here, right along Highway 14 and just west of there, still some pretty good indications on radar of large hail. Not a guarantee that we're going to get that sort of thing, but just letting you know what the radar is suggesting, what we're seeing in terms of wind and the potential here as we continue to deal with this active severe weather. Some of you may be wanting to know, is this stuff going to be headed for Hutchinson, Wichita? There have been a lot of questions about that. Still, my expectation would be maybe not, but with this southeasterly movement on the storm in Rice County, it doesn't have to go much further before we would start, being a little bit concerned about what may happen in northern Reno County. But let's give it another 45 minutes or an hour because there's still some question as to whether or not that storm is going to make it this far south. Possible, doesn't appear, at least in my judgment, all that likely. And then you can see that severe weather that's happening in Saline County. So it's not necessarily a widespread scenario of severe weather right now in central Kansas, but this is also not the main event because we've got severe weather up in Nebraska, we've got thunderstorms popping up in western Kansas, and what we think is going to happen later on tonight will be a significant wind situation playing out over northern Kansas up into southern Nebraska, where some places are going to potentially see 70 to 80 mile per hour winds that could be doing some rather widespread damage as those storms track along. So at the moment, if you're just joining our coverage, tornado warning, northern Rice, southern Ellsworth counties. We believe the rotation is right on Highway 14, north of Lyons by about 5 or 6 miles. What's moving through Salina, not a tornadic thunderstorm there. Looks like winds of 50 to 60, some quarter-size hail possible. And once again, let's just take another look, a small sample of what we're looking at here in a closer perspective around Lyons. And just north of there, strong winds are expected on this storm. Does look like Geneseo probably getting hit with some heavy rain and some hail there, and that storm moving southeast. The one that's in Saline County moving more to the east and will eventually, does look like the storm is holding together. Next in line would be Dickinson County, Abilene down toward the Carlton area. Does look like New Cambria. Should be prepared for some storms coming your way. The threat here of large hail and some strong wind gusts on that Saline County storm. Kick it back over to Peyton here for another update on western Kansas storms.
Yeah, Ross, I want to give a quick update on that Decatur County storm. The tornado warning will probably be dropped for the Kansas portion because this storm has now completely crossed into Nebraska. But I do want to pass along that we did actually get a report of a tornado near Cedar Bluffs at 6:42. The spotter report of a brief tornado touching down, so we'll keep watching that. But that is, again, crossing the state line into Nebraska. Do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. This is for northeastern Sheridan County until 7:30. This is a hail threat about to move into Hoxie. Might be up to quarter sized. You can see that storm moving off in a northeasterly movement. So hail, some wind gusts 50 to 60 possible with that storm. A storm north of Colby in Thomas County is not severe. There might be some small pea-sized hail, but that's moving toward the northeast. We go farther down to the southeast. There are some additional storms redeveloping south of Hayes, looks like right over Shinshin. Those moving to the north, brief heavy downpours of rain. The primary concerns at this point in time, we've got the strongest storms, as Ross was mentioning, in central Kansas, and we are still keeping a very close eye on southwest Kansas for potential for severe weather. What you can see here are a few storms that are currently trying to develop. They have been struggling. We will see if they strengthen, because if they do, it'll probably pose a significant severe weather threat, but we've just got to wait and see how they develop. We've still got another about hour or two of daylight here in southwest Kansas for these storms to continue to feed off the warmth and moisture of the day. And we'll see if they can become severe. But for right now, they are not. We do have storm chasers, again, monitoring those storms as they're developing. Again, Mikey Gribble, looks like, okay, he was in Garden City and was dropping south of the city. Let's go ahead and take his feed here real quick. Now that we know that he's dropping south, it looks like he might be going to intercept that storm that's going up to the southeast of Sublette. So if we look at Mikey Gribble's feed, it looks like he is heading south along Highway 83. On that picture, you can end up seeing there on the left side of your screen, that is going to be the storm that's going up to the southeast of Sublette, northwest of Meade. That does have a pretty good vertical growth to it. So that one might be one that will intensify. We'll keep watching that. So we'll monitor their feeds and several chasers in western Kansas. For now, on the strongest storms in central Kansas, we'll send it back over to Ross.
All right, thanks, Peyton. And we do have a wind gust now measured at 59 miles per hour moving through the city of Salina. That was something we told you about just a few minutes ago. Again, that's measured 59. We also have a report from Geneseo now of half-dollar size hail that has occurred in Geneseo. We also have a new report showing up here just north of Lyons of some large hail. Give you an idea of what we're looking at here north of Lyons, where some strong wind and hail potential. And here you can see golf ball size hail reported at 654. Again, this was north of Lyons. We are about to let our viewers on the KSCW return to scheduled programming for the evening. Our coverage is going to continue with severe weather on KWCH 12. Again, tornado warning does continue for northern Rice, southern Ellsworth counties. Severe weather moving through Salina. Winds of 60, possible quarter-size hail there. And we'll pause for a moment to let CW viewers return to programming. All right, back with continuing with our coverage here on KWCH 12 as we're dealing with a tornado warning set to expire in about 30 minutes for northern Rice County. We have not had a tornado reported, certainly some good news, but areas north of Lyons should be bracing for strong wind gusts of 60 miles per hour because we're looking at from the Wichita radar, this green area right here along Highway 4, that's the wind, and that's the reason why I keep suggesting 60 winds are possible as that storm passes just along and to the north of the Lyons area. Will eventually cross over Highway 56 east of Lyons. Over the last hour, if you watch how the storm is evolving, there you can see the strong winds. Again, radar alone would suggest that strong wind may pass north of Lyons, keep an eye out for 60 winds there. And again, we have had some large hail, golf ball size now confirmed north of the city of Lyons. What's coming through Salina, we have had the weather station there in the city of Salina confirm measuring our 60 mile per hour, actually 59 mile per hour wind gust. Does look like there's a hail threat ongoing in Salina, possibly to the tune of maybe quarter size. Not one of the bigger hail reports that we've had this afternoon, but hail of quarter size and winds of 60, 59 or 60 can do some damage by itself. And there's another thunderstorm over Brookville that looks like it's possibly producing some hail too. Those storms continue to work their way on to the north and east. So wind and hail, that's our threat there in Saline County. I'm also anticipating, well, it looks like they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning now for much of central and northern Saline County till 7:45, Brookville, Glendale, New Cambria, Salina part of that warning. And as we've been telling you about the situation in Rice and Ellsworth counties, also mainly looking to be a hail and wind threat. Good news there, we had a tornado warning issued. It's still in place until 7:30, could be canceled early. But at the moment, all of these blue boxes that are popping up on the screen, these are all hail reports. We had one from Geneseo suggesting $half size there. That was at 6:54. Another one here southwest of Geneseo on Highway 14. There's another report of golf ball size hail at 6:57. So this is a hail producing storm confirmed by some of the chasers and the spotters that are out there this evening. And once again, using the radar information alone, don't have confirmation of this, but this area right here along Highway 14 still looks like some significant wind. That should stay south of Geneseo, by the way. Tornado warning set to go down at 7:30 this evening. But looking at the radar, the reports that are coming in suggesting this is hail and wind and not a tornado situation. Hopefully that continues to be the case. So there's a lot of activity right now concentrated over Saline, Ellsworth, and Rice counties. Most of this continues to press on to the south and east. It does look like we have a strengthening storm there to the south of Hayes. Not such good news there. As Peyton was pointing out earlier, that severe thunderstorm warning up there in the Sheridan County vicinity is reason to be concerned because those of you in the Selden vicinity just 2 days ago dealt with a tornado, and there's still some cleanup efforts underway there. We do want to let you know that at the moment, this storm is going to stay to the east of Selden, and so it doesn't look like we're going to have a repeat occurrence of severe weather in Selden. By the way, it's up here in the northwest part of Sheridan County, so that storm looks like it will safely stay away from Selden. Do need to watch the storm that's back to your west. That, too, should miss the Selden area. We're still thinking about those of you up in Selden cleaning up in the wake of Monday storms. Going to be a long effort there, but severe weather at the moment passing both east and west of you. So you can see the severe weather in central Kansas, strengthening thunderstorm there to the south of Hayes. We'll see what becomes of that. And then, of course, as we've been following the storms now starting to grow, this one here south of the Gray County vicinity, that would put it north of Liberal, northeast of Liberal, and to the north of Sublette. That storm is starting to gain some intensity there as it moves on to the northeast. We'll see if it develops anything further, but as we've been concerned about the isolated nature of those storms in western Kansas, it's an environment that does bear watching, so we'll see if that storm there southwest of Dodge City continues to grow, because it definitely looks like it's trying to do just that. For those of you in Hutchinson, you would be concerned about what's coming out of Rice County. Again, we're kind of watching and waiting to see what becomes of this storm in Rice County. All of these hail markers showing up suggesting that we've had up to golf ball size hail reported with these storms in northern portions of Rice County. That storm north of Lyons still producing some strong winds and large hail. Looks like the strongest wind and the largest hail will stay north of Lyons, but it's a close call. And anybody that's on a farm or ranch out there in northern Rice County, heads up, because that storm is certainly one that is not losing any of its intensity at the moment. You can see these other storms now to the south of Canopolis Lake, another one there in the Salina area. We did get that report of winds gusting to 59. And it does look like the hail that's coming through Salina, probably up to quarter size. I wouldn't expect it to be larger than that, but still quite a bit of activity right now moving through central Kansas. I'm going to kick it over to Peyton. It does look like that storm southwest of Dodge is getting stronger. Also need to check in on that storm up there around Hayes. Starting to see a little bit more pop up.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're watching and waiting for in western Kansas to see if we're going to see these isolated storms develop. We're going to have to continue to see if they continue with their strengthening because if they do, we are concerned about the potential for additional tornadoes with these storms, especially if they do remain isolated. This could be a threat that if these storms do become severe, that potential for tornadoes could last past dark tonight. So want to keep a close eye on the situation if you are in western Kansas. This is the storm that Ross was just talking about to the northwest of Meade, heading up into Gray County. You can see I have our chasers on here. Mikey Gribble heading south on Highway 83 toward that thunderstorm. Over the past 1 hour, you can see it has really rapidly started to strengthen. There is Mikey Gribble's live feed as he is south on 83. Again, no distinct features from that storm at this point. He's still a little bit far away from that, but does give you the indication that our spotters are heading that way. Also, Ed O'Neill, I believe, is in vicinity. We also have Taylor Wright in western Kansas, monitoring those storms, and even into the northwest part of the state. We've got Steve Polly, Justin Dean, and then we've also got Scott Roberts and Lance Ferguson kind of monitoring these storms that are developing in north central sections of the state. So a lot of activity still to track. Tornado warning, they did issue a new one for far northern Decatur County, but this storm is in Nebraska. And again, it's away from Cedar Bluffs. You were dealing with that threat earlier. So that's moving away from Kansas into Nebraska. Still do have the severe thunderstorm warning here. This is for a hail threat that looks like it might have passed just to the east of, it looks like it passed in Hoxie. Haven't had any reports of hail yet. If you did get hail in Hoxie, have some pictures, send it to us on the Storm Team 12 weather app or on our website and Facebook pages as that storm continues. But yeah, we will have to keep a very close eye on these storms that are developing in the west. I'll give you kind of a wide overview. The tornado watch in effect for western Kansas until 2 a.m., a PDS tornado watch. That means a particularly dangerous situation. The wording on that means that if these storms become more intense, they could produce stronger tornadoes. So it still remains to be seen whether or not that's going to happen, but it will be something to watch for. And a severe thunderstorm watch for the counties in pink, that goes until 2 a.m. I was kind of mentioning this earlier. Once you get up more into north central and northeast Kansas, it might be more of a hail and wind threat as the atmosphere is a little bit more stable there. So we'll keep monitoring that potential, but yeah, storms will be widespread, especially across central Kansas this evening. As we look at the future track, it's showing isolated storms in the west. Well, again, it's not really picking up on that stuff in the southwest right now, but hit and miss storms in the west that could be severe. And also, there will be a line coming out of Nebraska that will pose a threat for damaging wind gusts into northern Kansas later on tonight. So several areas that we're still watching. We've got the storms out there. They've been ongoing throughout. You know, we had storms in northwest Kansas at 10 a.m. this morning, several hours now, but still more rounds will be possible as we head into the night. Ross?
All right, Peyton, we're getting a report now of some 2-inch hail from Geneseo, just northwest of Geneseo. Also did want to let you know we've heard from emergency managers in Salina. Power lines are down. We were reporting on some 59 or 60 mile per hour winds measured in Salina. We don't know to what extent the power lines are down, you know, how widespread that may be, but there could be power outages and probably are power outages with lines down now in Saline County, including the city of Salina. Our view from the Skycam there, this is mounted on the KSAL radio tower. It does look like we can see some of the hail passing the lens there. Obviously a lot of heavy rainfall, kind of noisy in Salina with the tornado watch that's out there. Let me put your mind at ease and tell you we're not seeing a rotating thunderstorm producing a tornado. Kind of hard to see anything, though, with this visibility as confirmed. Again, these are live pictures that we're looking at from the KSAL tower. Our camera there capturing from downtown Salina of some heavy rain and some hail. So back over to the radar we go. Again, that's the situation in Salina. Before we leave this storm, who's next in line to see the severe weather? Put a quick track here from Salina south. Does look like if the storm continues to move east, not moving quite that fast, but 25 miles per hour. Solomon at 719, Abilene at around 739. Again, be prepared for some hail and wind. 59-60, that's what's been reported and confirmed with this storm in Saline County. Then the situation around Geneseo and south toward Lyons. Again, we have had confirmation now of hail 2 inches in diameter from Geneseo. What we're looking at, this little marker that's popping up near Geneseo is, again, our computer kind of analyzing the storm, suggesting hail could be 3 inches in diameter. That's probably a little overdone. but we have had reports of golf ball to 2-inch size hail now from north of Lyons through the Geneseo area. We still have a little bit of a notch on radar, but it does go along with what we're seeing here on the velocities or the wind. It looks like south of Geneseo and south of Highway 4, this area north of Highway 56 and west of Little River, this is primarily wind, okay? So I don't think the tornado threat is really anything that we need to be too concerned about at the moment. But if you're getting 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in conjunction with hail to 2 inches in diameter, that's a problem. And that's going to leave behind some damage that'll be more widespread than what you might get if you had a brief tornado occurrence there south of Geneseo. But now it looks like the strong winds are starting to shift east of Highway 14. So with this view in mind, just to let you know, next in line would be Little River. We've also got Windham that potentially will be hit by some of this strong wind, and it does continue to show more of an easterly movement. I was looking at some other information off screen suggesting that Hutchinson, it's not really looking like this storm is going to be coming your way. Don't want to give you the all clear at this moment, but it looks like the primary threat of wind and hail will stay to your north. Little River, Windham, 7:45, our estimated arrival time there. Again, are we seeing a tornado with this? Likely not. Heavy rain, going to be some strong winds, going to be some large hail. We know that. We've already had that reported here, northern Rice County and southern sections of Ellsworth County. The tornado threat looks like it's over with now in southern Ellsworth County. That warning will probably be scaled back here momentarily, but still a lot of active weather happening here in central Kansas. Again, some of the most recent reports into the storm center, power lines are down. We don't know how many in the city of Salina, but we do know that there are lines down. All of the blue boxes here from north of Lyons up toward Geneseo, these are all hail reports ranging anywhere from quarters to 2 inches in diameter. And so we're still dealing with hail of a significant nature in that area. So south of Ellsworth, it does look like the city of Ellsworth now in the clear. The severe thunderstorm warning has been taken down for you. Also, look back here to the northwest and look at this area around Claflin. New thunderstorms are starting to pop up. And so that introduces the idea of flooding. We've already had significant thunderstorms roll through this area, and now introduces the idea of flooding. We've already had significant thunderstorms roll through this area, and now new storms developing northeast of Great Bend, one following another, is cause for concern when it comes to flooding. If there's a barricade that goes up on a county road, I know how it goes. Some of us think, oh, it's not a big deal, or oh, I can get through it. Respect the power of water, respect the barricade, turn around, find a different way, because there's just no way to know how deep the water might be. The road could be washed away, and a lot of flooding fatalities happen after dark because there's just no way of knowing how deep the water can be. Even in the middle of the day, when water's crossing a road, it can be difficult to figure out exactly how deep that water might be. But this is the situation as we have it right now. Tornado warning continues until 7:30. It's probably not going to get canceled early because of the history of the storm. And we just want you to keep your guard up here north of Lyons, north of Highway 56. We still have a very healthy thunderstorm here producing large hail. We've had reports of 2-inch diameter hail. That near Geneseo. Looks like the large hail kind of starting to shift on to the east, right along Highway 4, heads up Little River, Windham, storm coming your way. What's in Salina is also moving on to the east and does have a hail and wind threat with it as well. This is what we have going on. If you're wondering about Wichita, Hutchinson, well, let's bring both into view so you can see that over the last hour, the storms up here in Rice County, moving along Highway 56, starting to show more of an easterly trajectory. Same goes for the storms up here in Salina, Hutchinson, Wichita at the moment. Not really much of a concern for severe weather, but potential that maybe the storm drifts a little bit more to the southeast. We'll keep you updated on that. Peyton?
A quick update here. The Weather Service says they're going to probably go ahead and cancel that tornado warning for Rice County. So looks like the rotation there is weakening, and it sounds like they're going to cancel that. Right now, though, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning issued. This is in southwest Kansas, portions of Gray County, also around the Meade area included. This is a warning that is in effect here until 8 o'clock. There are some signs of some rotation already with this thunderstorm as it's moving toward the northeast. It's in an environment already that's going to start to become increasingly favorable for possibly tornadic development. So again, that's not a guarantee with this storm, but just given the environment that it's moving into, it's something that we'll have to keep a very watchful eye on. So if you're in Dodge City, Mineola area, keep a close eye on the situation here over the next hour or two. We do have chasers heading toward that storm. If we can take Mikey Gribble's feed, looks like he's still heading down Highway 83, or actually no, he's off of 83 now. He's heading there toward Montezuma. So that storm has really matured now. You can see much darker skies than what he was looking at a little bit earlier. He is heading east on K144 highway, and that is heading close to Copeland, and probably going to end up in the Montezuma area with that storm as it continues to intensify. So that one we'll have to keep monitoring. That is a strong storm in southwest Kansas. Let's go back to the radar picture here real quick. This is around Garden City. We have some other storms trying to develop. They are not terribly strong at this point, but Taylor Wright, another one of our chasers, is monitoring that activity. And then we go farther north into northwest Kansas. Some of these scattered storms here, northeast of Hoxie. It looks like we did actually get a hail report from Hoxie, as we were mentioning that storm a little bit earlier, of quarter-sized hail at 7:11. That storm moved through a little bit earlier. So we have Steve Polly, Justin Dean monitoring activity redeveloping in central Kansas, and then another storm very near Hayes. We've got some heavy rain moving into Hayes at this time. Scott Roberts and Lance Ferguson monitoring that storm. We'll see if it strengthens. So again, right now the strongest storms for sure in central Kansas, from Saline County down into portions of Rice and Ellsworth counties, and then the new storms are developing in western Kansas. We actually just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Sheridan County. This will be until 7:30 for that thunderstorm. There might be some maybe nickel to quarter-size hail as that storm moves off to the northeast. And a quick update here for Decatur County, still officially under a tornado warning, but it's still, we have high confidence that that storm, if it's going to produce a tornado, is across the state line into Nebraska. So again, the Cedar Bluffs area, that is to the north of you. So again, we're going to keep watching this very closely in southwest Kansas to see if these storms intensify as they continue to develop. We'll send it back over to Ross.
All right, thanks, Peyton. As we continue to have the severe weather underway in central Kansas, we do know the tornado warning is about over with now in Rice County. As we've been telling you, this appears to be mostly a hail and wind scenario that's playing out. Salina's got some wind damage. We do know of that. Power lines are down. We don't know to what extent. And it also looks like what's coming through northern Rice County, again, is mostly hail and wind. That storm's starting to show more of an easterly movement. Heads up in McPherson County. If you're along and north of Highway 56, you should know that the storm does continue to show indications on radar of strong winds and large hail. Let's go back in and check out the storm around the Salina area. We've got two areas. We've got one east of Salina. We've got another one back here to the west. And this one that's west of Salina looks like it may be a little stronger. And so even though we've had some rough weather come through Salina, that now is shifting on toward the Solomon area. What's coming back in from the southwest, this one looks like it may have some wind, possibly up to the 60 miles per hour and some hail too. We'll take a look at what our radar is estimating for the hail size. What's northeast of Salina doesn't look all that impressive, and what's coming in from the southwest near Brookville, that one also looks like it's got some hailstones of maybe nickel to quarter size, but doesn't really look like it's all that impressive there. But let's look at the wind, because that's what's taken down some of the power lines in Salina. Not a tornado, but winds measured at 59 miles per hour, and that has now shifted on to the north and east. So wind damage reported in Salina from emergency managers, and now another storm coming in from the southwest. These storms are not rotating in Saline County, so if you're concerned about a tornado, doesn't look like there's anything going to happen like that. That would be good news. Even where we had the tornado warning back here to the southwest, it's been replaced now with a severe thunderstorm warning for areas along and north of Highway 56, southeast of Geneseo. This area right here, you see these greens and the reds, and you're thinking, oh, well, there's the tornado. No, that's not the case. This is a wind situation here that's advancing east of Highway 14 rather, continuing to press on to the east. So if you're in Little River, Windham, and east of Geneseo, south of Marquette, keep an eye on what's happening here. This is, again, some strong winds, but we're down, removed the tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that continues for Rice County, Lyons included, Geneseo, Windham, Little River, up toward Marquette. So anticipating that there'll be some wind and hail continuing with that threat there across central Kansas. Again, as we expand the view, starting to see what we thought was probably going to be a problem with new storms popping up in western Kansas. We've got storms back in the Hays area, right here along and south of I-70, wind and wind damage now from Salina and Saline County. So still south of I-70, wind and wind damage now from Salina and Saline County. So still quite a bit of active weather. It's fairly concentrated over just a handful of counties in central Kansas with Saline, Rice, and Ellsworth counties, now including western McPherson County. We'll strip all of this stuff off the map and give you an overall look at how the storms are behaving, because again, just about everything here in central Kansas has an easterly trajectory to it. The storm up here in Salina looks more eastbound, and so a warning probably coming for Dickinson County here momentarily. And then once again, for those of you in Hutchinson concerned that the storm in Rice County would be coming your way, it does start to show more of an easterly push. And although I'm not going to give you 100% clearance that the storm won't get to Hutchinson, I would say there's a 90% chance we're probably not going to see any of that reach the Hutchinson area. It should stay north of there, but you can see how quickly some of this stuff is redeveloping across portions of central Kansas. And this is something that is going to be a threat that extends well into the night. But flooding, because we've had heavy rainfall impacting a big portion of central Kansas, and with new storms now festering around the Claflin area, just want to give you an idea of what the radar is showing as far as estimated totals might be. And remember, these are estimates. These are not ground truth observations. But back here to the southwest of Ellsworth, radar is suggesting that the rainfall total might be somewhere in the ballpark of 4 inches. That would put it in the Holyrood west of Lorain area. Looking back here to the south of Wilson, 3 to 4 inches of rain, that wouldn't, to get a report like that would certainly not be out of the ordinary based on what we've been looking at here from Doppler radar in this area north of Claflin up into the southeast corner of Russell County. Again, big rainfall totals. These have been incredibly slow moving storms, only at about maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour in some instances today. So we're not that surprised at some of the rainfall reports that we're going to see coming from Ellsworth County. Just certainly another added danger that we're going to be up against with the slow moving storms. Now starting to see a little bit of a calming situation here in far western Ellsworth County, but it's not over with yet, because you can see we've got another thunderstorm that's popped up near Claflin. This is north of Claflin, and if that storm continues to move northwest, or northeast, it's going to be coming into western Ellsworth County here momentarily. The storms are starting to ramp up now in the city of Lyons. It does look like the largest hail is probably just north of there. New hail report just north of Lyons on Highway 14. Looks like we had another report there. Well, that was before the top of the 7 o'clock hour of golf ball size hail. So a lot of hail. We do know from Geneseo there's been some 2-inch hailstones falling there. Now that has moved on to the east of Geneseo, stretching from south of Canopolis Lake right here along Highway 4. Those storms continue to be moving on to the east. So we're done with tornado warnings at the present time here in central Kansas. Still some dangerous storms in the area. Going back and taking a look at the entire state, it does look like we're free of tornado warnings at the moment, so that's good news. And given the fact that we are free of, that's good news. And given the fact that we are free of tornado warnings, there's a possibility here we may be able to take a little break and give you a chance to kind of see everything from a statewide view and maybe even get some primetime programming coming your way here momentarily. We've got severe weather in central Kansas. We've got a storm that's south of Dodge. We've got another one up here that's in the Hays area. For those of you in Selden, we know the cleanup efforts are still underway from the tornado earlier this week. You've got storms both west and east of you at the moment. Nothing threatening in the Selden area. But it looks like at the moment, storms are becoming a little bit more scattered in western Kansas, and what we're seeing in central Kansas now, mostly hail and wind. So that's what's happening across Kansas at the moment. We're going to continue with our coverage on 12.2. If we get a tornado warning, if we get some more urgent information, we're going to pass that along to you. But at the moment, we have no tornado warnings in effect, but still some strong thunderstorms out there at the moment that we'll continue to keep a close watch on and be back with more information as the situation warrants.